What up, Wastelanders? Christopher here, Gaslands, NorCal. Thanks for joining me once again for another conversion video. Now this time, we're going to do something special. Got called out from Aaron Glaab. He called out a bunch of people yesterday. Spork Syndicate, Wastelands Raceway, Jody Sims, just people from all over the globe to do a monster build with this Pontiac Aztek Custom. And it's kind of a speed build in the sense that we only have a week to get it done in, which, you know, it shouldn't be that big of a deal, but for me, I had to first go out and find the car. So luckily I found it at Target, along with, you know, so many other things that you get from Target. And I'm going to be using all this different stuff here to do the monster build. I got these jaws that I've used for several of my builds before, mostly with like twisted metal builds. So that's going to make it kind of the monster. I've got all sorts of spikes and stuff going on. Some wheels from Angel of Combustion on Etsy. For the color, we're going to be using this Monument Hobbies Pro Acryl Bright Yellow Green, and probably be doing some black highlights and stuff. Maybe just getting the nooks and crannies and everything, just to make it kind of a more of the spooky green monster look. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. But first off, you know what we got to do? Get this baby apart, get her into the stripper. Alright, all stripped up, primed up, ready to go. Really cool detail on this, I'm liking it. So next we're going to use the airbrush, using a little bit of the AK acrylic thinner and the Monument Hobbies Bright Yellow Green to get this thing on its path to being monstrous. And then we'll start doing a little bit more detailed, like I said, with some black. Got this Technicolor, or Technical Tesseract Glow I may use as well, so yeah. Let's start, let's get it painted up, and then we'll see how it looks, and then we'll start getting back together and turn this thing into a monster. Alright, now that dries, we're going to go ahead and start getting all the bits and pieces, wheels and weapons, armor and whatnot, all painted up and primed and everything. Really liking this one-shot MIG primer. I've got black, white, gray, brown for rust and stuff. Worked great through the airbrush. So let's get these all blacked up. We'll dry brush them in silver, and then we'll go back to the body of the build and do some special effects on there that I've been playing with. And yeah, we'll see where we're at. Let's get it done. Alright, so now that we're all dried up, we're going to do a little bit of, I'm not even sure what it's called, I'm going to kind of feather around the edges with the dry brush, around all the openings and stuff, the wheel wells and stuff. Gives it kind of a really cool effect. I just started playing with it. You'll see when I do it. It's hard to really explain, but I think it's pretty cool. Gives it kind of more of a monsterish motif. So yeah, we're going to do that, and then we'll get it back together and start getting the wheels and weapons and everything on there and continue to turn this thing into a monster. Let's do it. Alright, so for the windows, we're going to be using this mesh from Hayland. Mesh is kind of, for me anyway, is kind of difficult to get in there and get it to stay. That's why I don't use it a whole lot. You have to get the right size, get it right in there, and then glue it down and stuff, which can be kind of a challenge. So we're going to get this glued in. Hopefully that'll stay right and look okay. And then we'll get it back together and start getting the wheels and weapons and everything on there. And make it look more like a monster. So let's get the mesh glued in there, and hopefully I don't glue my fingers to the model and screw everything up. Let's do it. Alright, so we're all back together. Mesh turned out pretty okay. Next we're going to do our first phase of weathering with the Agrax, just get the fine nooks and crannies and stuff in there. Then we'll start getting it all back together and do some fine detail stuff, and a little bit more of the adding more to it to make it more monstrous. I think I'm going to move away from the Tesseract Glow and probably looking at maybe doing a little more blood on this one since it's a monster. So let's get some Agrax on there, and then we'll get it dried up, and then we'll get it back together and start doing some of the really freaky detail stuff on here and turn this thing into a monster. Let's do it! Alright, so the Agrax all dried up now, so we can do a little of the fine detail stuff, get the door handles and the lights and the headlights and the tail lights going on, and then we will start getting everything back together. Got a water slide I'm going to stick on the front just to make it a little bit more bloody and stuff before I get everything else going on there. So we'll get all those on there, and then we'll start getting the wheels, weapons, and stuff on there, and then do the final bloodletting with all the other blood portion of it from Blood from the Blood God. So, yeah, let's get some details on there. Alright, it's got the detail work on there. Taillights, headlights, handles. That water slide really makes that pop, looking very much more monstrous now. The blood for the Blood God's gonna make it even more so. So, yeah, let's start getting it back together, and then we will get the blood on there, and then this monster will be ready for the Wastelands. Let's get it all back together. Alright, all back together, looking really monstrous if I do say so myself. Got the spikes and stuff going on there, got all the brass and everything painted up on the weapon. Next we're going to finish up with the blood from the Blood God to make this thing even more monstrous. So let's get some blood going on, and yeah, then this thing should be ready to go. Alright, and there we have it. One monster Pontiac Aztek Custom for the kind of flash week-long build that Aaron put together. Thanks for doing that, man. Appreciate it. Just like getting me out of my just regular day in, day out stuff to do this build challenge. Outstanding. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, do me a favor and hit that like button. My goal is to do weekly videos, whether they're vehicle builds, terrain builds, or whatever. So if that's for you, please hit the sub button below and ring the bell to get notified when new content drops. I do sell all my builds pretty inexpensively on my Etsy page, so if you want to pick something up, see what else I've done, you can even request a custom build. Until next time, keep your foot on the gas and your finger on the trigger. Gaslands NorCal, signing out.
Ha 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 ha!